mug.
Hold on.
Where's my phone so I can pull up more games on my phone? Since if they want to do more games.
Oh, it's live.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hold on. You can put a countdown on. Let's see.
Yeah, but should we start when people are on right now?
Yeah, let's use this countdown.
Hello and welcome to the JV Show. I am your host, Jalen Vazanji, and today we are live for the first time. For today, we have a football bowl between Ohio State, number 2 seed, taking on Notre Dame, the number 5 seed. All right, we have a lot to talk about. But first, football is back after Georgia beats Alabama in Indianapolis in the championship, shocking the world. Tune in for weekly post games and pre games for LSU Tigers and like and share this video. So let's start. We got a quarterback matchup to watch out for. We got CJ Stroud versus Tyler Munchney. So I am joined by Drew Fua and Rakesh Fua. So Drew Fua, tell me what did you think of CJ as his freshman year and what he can learn after his freshman year coming into sophomore?
I think he did great as his freshman year. He proved a lot on the field. He's a strong passer. We had a strong offense, so that kind of helped out as well as a mediocre defensive team. But he has a lot to learn as he goes on. But I'm expecting a lot from him this year. He did great at practice. I've seen him during some of the practice games that he had online. So, he's been doing great. Definitely got more stronger than last year. So expecting a lot.
Rakesh Fua, your quarterback for the Notre Dame was in his senior year and now has headed to the draft. The starting quarterback for this week, Tyler Munchney, is now going to be starting this year. He took a little bit of snaps last year. What do you think he learned from that senior quarterback?
I think he learned a lot, Jalen. And, I think in order to really assess what kind of year he's going to have, I think you have to kind of take a step back and look at what's at stake. CJ Stroud, there's no denying that he has talent. He was a Heisman finalist last year. It's going to be full of pressure for that young man being a sophomore. Many predict him to go early in the draft. On the other hand, Tyler Buchner has zero pressure. I mean, he's half Asian. Come on, man. You got to have a half Asian guy play in one of the top storied programs of all time. But you know what? There's another half Asian, and he's in charge. And you may know him as Coach Freeman. When you have two individuals in the leadership position and both are half Asian, God, they're not full Asian, but half Asian. That mix, that bond over bibimbap, that bond over bulgogi, both being half Korean, I think is going to bring magic to this team, and I think it's going to allow Tyler to propel.
Dufour, when you said CJ Stroud did pretty good last year, he did have two key receivers that were seniors heading into the draft, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, now into the NFL. Who is CJ going to be looking for this year now that he doesn't have his two key receivers anymore?
I would say Jones and Jackson. Those are two 5-star prospects, and they're I think those are going to be his key elite weapons right there.
All right, I'm gonna head to Rakesh Fua. Rakesh Fua, your head coach last year decided to leave Notre Dame, and that is Brian Kelly, and now he's the head coach of my Fighting Tigers. So what do you think Marcus Freeman is going to do in his first year that Brian Kelly didn't do in 2020?
Well, first off, he's going to win a national championship. I mean, I think there is no doubt that Marcus has the hunger. I think that, yes, we did lose Kelly, and I say good riddance. I think a lot of great coaches go to LSU, and LSU is a great program, and I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for the Tigers. I'm happy for my wife and most of my in-laws. I'm also happy for Brian Kelly. But I'm really happy for the Fighting Irish because he did not prove to be a national championship contender. I think Freeman will. I just want to comment on your previous question to Dhruv about where is CJ going to go to? Who's he going to call? He's going to call his mom because he's going to be afraid because Isaiah Foskey, a number 1 first-round draft pick at the defensive end, is going to be in his grill all day long. I think it's going to be tough for CJ. I think Freeman's got him riled up. He's a defensive-minded coach, a Dayton, Ohio boy who started at Ohio State. I don't think this is going to be much of a challenge for us.
Rakesh, you lost a good safety last year, Kyle Hamilton, entering the draft. What is the defense going to look like this year, especially this game when you're facing CJ Stroud and Ryan Day's really good offense?
Yeah, there's no doubt that Ohio State is appropriately ranked in the top 2 or 3 teams in the country. They've got formidable weapons all around, and as I'm sure Dhruv will try to highlight, quarterback, running back, receivers. But Irish are known for their defense. Freeman is a defensive-minded coach, as I mentioned. Their defense has shown to be elite. Not only do they have a strong D-line, but their cornerbacks are top flight. So in the middle, you have Kaiser. Kaiser is proven. Whenever you get a good, scrappy linebacker for the Irish, I think as long as they can put pressure on Stroud, I think Stroud calls his mom more than his receivers.
But that's the thing. This is why it's going to be such a great game because you guys have a great defense. We have a great offense. And that's like the questionable thing for this game is, how our defense is going to be, right? We hired Jim Knowles, who turned around Oklahoma's defensive line, right? To one of the best in the country. And so that's the one thing, we're gonna see how our defense can kind of stop you guys. Mr. Cool Guy right there. Man, I want my shades. Hey babe, can I get my shades?
I'm sorry, Drew. These are blue blockers.
Oh.
Yeah, this is just why I wear indoors.
All right, Dufour, so I'm going to talk to you about Ryan Day. So, as you know, Ohio State's old head coach was Urban Meyer when he coached in his last game against Washington in the Rose Bowl. Ryan Day apparently made a great look for himself. In his first 2 years, he made the playoffs. And on his second year, he made the national championship run. But on his third year, they managed to lose to Michigan, and that causes their season and not going to the Big Ten championship. What do you think happened in that Michigan game? Besides Aiden Hutchinson, a god man.
Yeah. Besides that, it was our defense. It was this big issue with that. Offense was strong, but we had our defensive line wasn't there, and that was I think the biggest thing that led to our downfall. Very, very upsetting thing because it was I think the last time we lost to them was 2011, right? And so, that was a huge upset, but I think it was the defense that really killed it.
All right. So, Rakesh, Notre Dame hasn't won a national championship since 1988. At the time, my dad was 6 years old. Why?
And he had also already reached his adult height, I think, at that point.
Okay. Drew, every year, Ohio State fans say this is their year. It's really not their year.
We're just being optimistic, man. Ohio State is a very optimistic.
They lost to Michigan last year.
So, I know, man.
I'm going to start with Drew on this. Drew, why didn't your team beat Alabama on the only chance you had to win a championship?
Man.
Great question.
God. I don't know, man. We lost the focus. We had such a strong team too. I don't know what happened. That was a shocker. I mean, we had a strong offense. We had a great defense at that point, but I don't know what happened. We had quite a few turnovers. I don't know. That was a shocker.
Right. Well, unlucky in 2020, you got the draw of Alabama as the 4th seed and got blew out in that game. But that was your best chance of winning the championship. So, 2 things. 1, if you didn't get Alabama as the draw and you got Clemson or Ohio State, would that give you a better chance of making the championship, or would you still get out in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, I sense a little bit of negativity, JV, honestly, against the Irish here, but I'm going to overlook that for a minute because, I understand that we come in with a lot of optimism. It's in our DNA. It's the luck of the Irish. It's a local call to God from South Bend. But, we have made done that dance at least 11 times in the history of our storied program. We have the most national championships almost in anyone in NCAA football. We produce a lot of Heisman Trophy winners. And every year, the commitment is still having optimism when there's no good reason to. And I think that explains us this year. We have canceled dinners. We've canceled weddings when the Irish lose. And it's just one of those things. We're very loyal. We're very committed in that regard. It was a cold day in 1991 when I entered Keenan Hall in South Bend, Indiana as a freshman. I sat on my bed next to Ryan Schmidt from Bernie, California, and Brother Bonaventure came up to me and said, "Boys, this is a special room." And we said, "Why?" And he said, "This is the mighty Joe Montana's freshman year dorm room." No one counted on Joe Montana, a third-string quarterback, to win the national championship in 1977, the year of our Rutschna. The year of our Rutschna. Eric Parsegian led them to a national title. And for example, that was unexpected. That's why I believe, Jalen. I believe because we can do uncommon things when you have God, country, and Notre Dame.
All right.
Thank you.
So we're going to get off a subject of Ohio State and Notre Dame, and we have actually some breaking news. Yesterday, the NCAA has announced that in 2026, there will be a 12-team playoffs. So I see Drew is laughing. So I'm gonna touch on you. What do you think of this idea? And do you think this idea should have been earlier, or this is perfect, 2026?
I think it's perfect. It gives people more. It gives more teams chances to kind of get out there and kind of show their thing. More opportunity for other teams outside of the top 10, right, to kind of get out there. But I think it's a perfect timing. We have many strong teams out there, strong players. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else, what other talents out there besides Ohio State.
Rakesh, Will, what do you think? I mean, now that since there's more teams, more chances, like Drew Plus says, and apparently now we can see Boise State in the playoffs. So, what do you
Yeah.
think on that?
I mean, I'd love to see Boise State in the playoffs. I like their blue football field. I think it brings a magic to the game. But I'm going to tell you this. I don't like the playoff system at all. I like bowl games. I like tradition. We haven't won a national championship since Dhruv has been born. But so that's why I hang on to that history. I believe that, I believe the children are our future. I do not think the playoffs are our future. We've already gone so far into becoming an amateur kind of pre-pro system. Programs like Ohio State, come on. We've had so much controversy at Ohio. I like Skyline Chili. I love Grater's ice cream. I like Dave Chappelle. I like Braden Kelly. A lot of great things come from Ohio. However, honesty, discipline, principles, history cannot be associated with that program. You've got the Jim Tressel tattoo gate. Come on, players selling the memorabilia that they earn through a scholarship for tattoos. Are you kidding me? You're going to get Urban Meyer, a Notre Dame grad who got totally dispelled because of all of his looking the other way when bad things were happening. I think Dhruv can associate with that. And then all of a sudden, you've got a team doctor who does extended exams. 2 seconds, okay. 10 seconds, not okay. I mean, for me, I like tradition. I like history. I like bowl games. It's the only way Notre Dame has a chance to win a championship again.
All right, and now we're gonna head to our final segment, which is game picks, and we're first gonna start off with Oregon and Georgia. Who do you have?
Ooh. I got Oregon.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oregon. I agree with Dhruv on this one. I mean, you got the Mighty Ducks. They've got the hottest cheerleaders in the country. They've got great school colors. It's very difficult to go into Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's hard to own a Mercedes-Benz today. But when you play a school with no academic standards whatsoever, like the Georgia Bulldogs, it's going to be very difficult. But I'm going to go with Oregon.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Oregon too. All right, we're going to head to Arkansas and Cincinnati.
Ooh, Cincinnati. I think they're a strong team, consistent, and a lot of the players are back, so it's going to be a great game to watch.
I'm going with Cincinnati as well. I love Cincinnati. It's one of the most livable places in the country after Indianapolis and Madison, Wisconsin, 2 places I've resided in. I like Kings Island better than Cedar Rapids. I think it's the best team in Ohio this year. Go Cincinnati.
All right, we got Houston and UTSA. Who do you have, Drew, for?
I'll say Houston. I say Houston. I'll be honest. I don't know too much about both those teams, but I'm saying Houston because I like the city.
I say Houston because I don't recognize the other one.
All right. Lincoln Riley's debut and Caleb Williams' debut. We have Rice versus USC.
Ooh, USC.
Virtual.
I'm going to go with Rice. I think Rice is one of the most undervalued college educations that a person can get. I think they've got a chip on their shoulders since they've declared rice a high carb product. A lot of people aren't eating rice these days. I think that when you look at USC, all I can think of is sellouts. They're leaving the Pac-12, going to the Big Ten for money. They had that whole rowing scandal a few years ago. I don't like the Trojans, never use their condoms, don't like their football.
Yeah. I mean, they're both coming off a 4-8 season. So, it's, there are still, some weaknesses on both sides. So I think Rice was expected to finish at the bottom of the conference this year. So, yeah.
All right, we got 3 more games. We got Clemson and Georgia Tech, the ACC battle.
Ooh. What do you say about
that? Before you pick, you got to think about last year with Clemson. Not a good team last year. No one expected them. So,
yeah. I'm going to go, I'm a big believer in the ACC, at least for 5 times a year as an Irish football fan. I mean, we support each other. I like Dabo Swinney. I think he's an intellectual coach. I think he is formidable. Georgia Tech, bunch of engineers, don't like their mascot. I'm going to go with Clemson.
I'm gonna have to go with Georgia Tech. I think again, strong team, and they have lots to prove. So I think I'm gonna go with them. They're gonna do it.
All right, we're going to go to my team's favorite game because we've been talking about your two teams' favorite game. So we have LSU versus Florida State. Drew Floyd.
I'm going to go for Florida State.
I think the best way to survive is not to kill yourself. And for me, it'd be very difficult to root against the LSU Tigers with my wife being an alumni. I'm going to go with LSU. I think that Brian Kelly's going to turn that team around. He's going to bring discipline. I think half the team won't survive if he tries to impose academic standards that he's accustomed to. But I do think that LSU is talented. He's a master recruiter. I think Florida State is no longer an elite program. I'm going LSU.
Yeah,
and the moment
I agree. Like they're going to be more disciplined under Kelly. So yeah, that's true.
All right, and the moment we've all been waiting for, the two teams match up. The number 2 seed Ohio State takes on the number 5 seed Notre Dame at Columbus, Ohio. I'm gonna start with Rakesh.
For me, I do a lot of deductive reasoning. I take a lot of complex things and simplify them in my career, in my life as a football fan. I think you have to take a look at the intangibles. I think you can always find data to justify your bias. I think Dhruv has made some compelling points. The world, including Vegas, has bet on Ohio State. But I suspect that there's going to be some magic. I think the half Asian bond between the quarterback and the coach are going to be critical. I think the fact that Marcus Freeman still supports the Asian Student Association Ohio State and has inside knowledge of the plays that they're going to play is important. I think that there's way too much pressure on CJ Stroud being a Heisman potential, NFL candidate. I think he's going to choke. I think the Irish are going to come with nothing to lose and something to create, a memory about that's special. I think a lot of things happened in 1989, early in the year. I think Drew's parents were trying to have Dhruv. But the other thing that happened is the Notre Dame Mighty Irish shocked the world when they won the Fiesta Bowl. And for me, I think there's going to be a special game today. And I think the Irish pull this one off, JB. I really do.
All right, so here are the facts, okay? So Ohio State, we got Stroud. We have, a lot of very strong receivers. But the thing is, our defense, right? That is a questionable thing. We got a new coach, leading that, leading the defensive line. So that is, I think, the number one thing that I'm kind of intrigued to see like how that goes. But there are 46 recruiters coming to this game, representing 23 NFL teams. This is a huge game. Both teams have a lot to prove. Freeman, who's former Ohio State linebacker, right? Coached under Jim Tressel in 2010. He came back and coached at Ohio State. So he probably took back a lot of secrets, right? Jim Tressel had a lot of great plays under his belt. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game to watch, but I believe that Ohio State is going to take it to the end, and we're going to finish off, I would say, prediction of 42-21.
All right, this is my vote now. It's up to a tiebreaker now. But when you look at these two teams, you look at Ohio State and you look at Notre Dame, two really good teams. Ohio State doesn't make the playoffs, and Notre Dame was closer to make the playoffs. But also, I think, in my opinion, that the Buckeyes will win this game because they have an experienced quarterback that played against a really good defense, Michigan, with Aiden Hutchinson, and they almost won. But I think C.J. Stroud and what I forgot that receiver's name in the Rose Bowl, he did absolutely amazing. I am sure Notre Dame will have to double team this guy because he broke Rose Bowl records in receiving yards and touchdowns. So my final prediction is Ohio State 35. Notre Dame almost wins this game, but Ohio State just gets the dub. 39-25, I have Ohio State. Thank you, everyone, for watching the JV show. I am your host, Jalen Vazanji, joined by Drew Fua and Rakesh Fua. Please watch me tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please watch me tomorrow. We have the pregame of LSU and Florida State. I'm Jalen Vazanji, and you've been watching the JV show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.